I know. I don't think we recorded the other one, did we? I don't think we recorded the other one. All right, so we're going to continue on our Matthews. We had in Matthews 25. Continue on Matthews 25. Last week we did the parable of the virgins and their talents. I'm sorry, not virgins, talent. The 5 foolish virgins and the 5 wise, and broke down what the oil represents, what the lamp represents. So that led us up to about, I want to say verse 13. That sound right where we ended it? I'm not sure.
Verse 13. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll start it from verse 13. All right.
Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour when the Son of Man cometh. For the kingdom of heaven is like as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods.
All right, so we're getting into another parable that's about to come about, right? So when he did it for the kingdom of heaven, so he's about to make a comparison about the kingdom of heaven. So right now it's talking about, I guess we'll kind of read it through just on the surface level, and then if anybody had anything to bring out deeper with it, we'll go from there, okay? So right now we got a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered them unto them his goods. So we got this man and he's giving his servants some goods. All right. Going.
And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
Right. So now he's giving out. Hold on, I want to get some key factors. So he's giving out talents, and everybody is not getting the same amount. All right. It's important as well. So to one servant, he gave him 5 talents. To another, he gave 2. Another, he gave 1. Right. So there's different amounts. Okay. Let's keep going.
Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents.
So we got the first guy, or the first servant he gave 5 to. He actually did something with it, and now he acquired 5 more. Okay.
And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
All right. So they basically, we call that doubling your money. Right. So they doubled it. All right. Let's keep going.
But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
So basically, he threw that money right into basically like I will call like a bank or something, right? It ain't gonna, you don't lose it. He's saying, I ain't lose it, right? You gave me that money and I just put it somewhere and just didn't work it. Just put it and saved it, okay? Put it in the piggy bank. All right, let's read.
And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more.
Wait. Did you read verse 18?
No, I skipped, my bad.
Sorry.
But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
No, you did. Okay.
After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them.
All right. So now says the Lord of those servants. So that master that went a long way. Now he's reckoning with them. Verse 20.
And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more.
So the first person giving his report, listen, you gave me 5, I made 5 more. Read.
His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
All right. So now he's saying this person that got 5 talents and made 5 more, he's saying, listen, you're the good and faithful servant. Right? He said, I'm gonna have you basically give you more responsible. You're gonna be a ruler of over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Right? Since you was good. Let's keep reading. Verse 22.
He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them.
So now this brother that got the 2 talents or sister that got the 2 talents, she coming like, Lord, you gave me 2, I made 2 more. I double whatever you gave me, right? Now, what is the Lord going to say to this person?
His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
So he got the same message the first person got. All right. Let's go to this last one.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I know that thou art a hard man, reaping thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed.
Read the next one with it.
And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there that thou hast, that is thine.
Okay. So what do we see is an issue? I want you to read verse 24 again. I want to see if you can pick it up. What's the issue with that? Because this is very important. We talk about being a servant of God and everything, because we're going to have to give an account, right? We're going to get to details of what this stuff could be dealing with. But read that verse 24 again, Brother Kai.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I know that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed.
What is he saying? Who's talking and what's being said here? We can use layman's terms. He which received the 1 talent. So now remember, it was 3 servants. 1 got 5, 1 got 2, and 1 got 1 talent. This brother that had the 1 talent, listen what he says. Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. Y'all understand what that's saying? Anybody can answer it if you know.
No, I don't understand what it's saying.
Okay, that's no problem. So, sorry, missed the verse. Where are we at? 24. He said, I knew thou art a hard man. I knew you basically, we say you got a boss. I know you're a hard boss. But he says, reaping, this is what he explained it, reaping where thou hast not sown. So we remember I talked with Christ, a lot of times we'll get agricultural references, right? A lot of us was farmers and things of that nature. So we say reap what you sow and all those things. So you plant stuff and then you reap from it. So you got to sow the seed and then you reap the harvest, right? He's saying, I know what kind of boss you are. You expect to reap what you didn't sow, right? You expect to, you don't worry about the planting the seed, but you want fruits even though you didn't plant it, right? And he's saying, gathering where thou hast not strawed, right? You have to straw and then you gather together. So he's saying basically, I know you always want something back in return. If I can use layman's terms, right? We think of a loan shark, right? If a loan shark gives you $5, I'll use Brother Kai as an example. Does he want $5 back in return? No, he want interest, don't he? That's my wife say he want interest. You already know. That's why he said, I know how you are. With me, I give you $5. Just give me the $5 back. But he's saying, Lord, I know how you are. You want interest. You don't want, I gave you something, you just give it back. No, that didn't do nothing. You want interest on what you gave. You gave me a talent. And this is where I want us to stop here so we can understand he already knew what kind of Lord he was dealing with, what kind of master he was dealing with. And the same thing, we got to realize, we reading this Bible, we know what kind of Lord we're dealing with. So if you knew that, now I want y'all to think about it. If he knew how his Lord was, what's the big problem now? He just testified how his Lord was. What is the big problem? Did we read it already? Yes, we did. What's the big problem with him testifying that, according to what he did? Why was he a foolish man? In this sense. What was different between him and the other servants? What was the difference between him and the other servants? Brother Kai, go back to verse 18.
But he that had received the one went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
What is the difference between him and the other servants?
He hid the Lord's money.
So what that mean when he said he hid the Lord's money? What did he do with that?
He didn't do nothing with it. You know, the Lord gave him, the command, gave him the laws, he gave him the, things, he equipped him with the things to go out and teach, his people. But instead, he fed himself and he didn't feed the Lord's people. He hid his money.
Kai go deep. I told, but yes, Kai give more deeper revelation of it. But on the surface, yes, he didn't do nothing with it. I love this thing I'll put in the chat. He didn't sow what he received. He gave you this, and you saying this. This is what the brother's saying, or the sisters. I'm sorry, just saying servant. I'm putting his brother, but the servant's saying, I know how you are. When you gave me this, I know you want something in return. You want more than what you gave. So why would you put it in the ground where it's not going to do anything? That's why it was foolish. The other servants knew. That brother got the 5 talents. He like, I'm going to get more. Because I know when the Lord come back, he don't want me to just give 5 back. Same thing, the person that had the 2 talents. They knew it and they went out and made sure they worked it. Just like you giving your money to an investor, you give them, $500. You don't want them to come back, years later, here go your $500 back. No, I expect you to do something with what I gave you. I could have put it in the earth. I could have did that. I wanted you to do something with that. Okay. So let's jump back down. Let's go back down. Read verse 24 again, Brother Kai.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I know that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine.
So he's like, I knew that and was scared. So that's why I hid it in the earth. That was his justification. Okay, just leaving it there. That was his justification. All right, next verse.
His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed.
See how the Lord responded to this? You wicked and slothful. You wicked and slothful. If you knew, if you're testifying that you know me and what I require of you, why didn't you do it? That's what we got to ask. We're reading all these scriptures and everything, giving all these details and all that stuff. We know we have a small perception of what the Lord requires. Why aren't we doing it? Okay. we'll get more to it when we explain it. All right, let's get the next verse. And
Thou
then,
oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I shall have received my own with usury.
So he's saying, listen, you if you knew that, you should have did this, like the first two servants did. Is that the end of it? No, give me the next verse.
Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which have 10 talents.
Read verse 29.
For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that have not shall be taken away even that which he had.
All right. So we see right here that now he's saying for that person that had the 1 talent, he's like, I'm taking that talent from you, and I'm gonna give it to the person that has the 10. Why is he doing that? I'm gonna keep it natural. Why is he doing that? Why is he gonna take that one little talent from that person, that servant, and give it to the person that has 10? Anybody know? Go ahead, Kaya.
Because he's showing that the one who had the 10, that he valued his blessings and the gifts from God, and he used them wisely. So when he's doing that, he's giving him more, and that he will be richly supplied with that. So it's basically like he give him as abundance. He's giving him more. He's giving him more in abundance because he went out and he used his blessings and the gifts from God wisely. And he did right with it. So he's giving him more because, and plus he had 10. And I think, as you read in the Bible, you see the people like the ones who did really great for the kingdom, they will be blessed even more. So basically like that. If I said it right.
No, good. So the brother that had 10, go ahead, Mother Val. I'm sorry.
It's basically like saying like, why should God increase your blessing if you're not going to do anything with it? What is that scripture I'm trying to think of? Why would he give you more if you're not going to, what he's giving you, you're not doing anything with? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. That's part of it, yep. Because what you're both saying is definitely correct. The person that had the 10, he didn't start off with 10. That was the first servant. The first servant had 5 and he doubled his money. He got 10. So if I came to, that's what I'm saying, remember these parables, so I'm trying to give it to y'all as, modernized, modern version. If I gave, let me use the example with the brothers here. All right, so I gave Brother Lloyd, I gave him 5 talents, right? I gave him $5. Who's gonna be the wicked one? No. I'll give Chizzy, you'll be I gave Chizzy 2 talents. Kai, I gave you 1. You're gonna be the wicked one in this one, Kai, right? So Lloyd comes back, I gave him 5, he come back with $10 saying, look, I made you $10. Chizzy, like, listen, you gave me $2, I made 4. And Kai, like, I got 1, the same $1 you gave me. Common sense is gonna do what? Give me that $1, let me give that to Lloyd, or better off the Chizzy, whatever one, because I'm gonna give them something. I know they're gonna give me more than what I gave. So this is how this parable is going about. So take it from that one slothful person. He ain't doing nothing with my $1. I'm gonna give it to somebody that's gonna do something with it. So that's the basically how the parable is being set. Read one more verse, then we're gonna go back. Okay, verse 30.
And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
All right, so we know it goes deeper because even how that verse is, okay? So what he's saying with that unprofitable servant, the unprofitable one was the one that had 1. Profit, he ain't give me no gain or nothing, he didn't do nothing for me. Gave him a talent, he come back with 1 talent. He ain't do nothing. throw that unprofitable person, throw them away, basically, in modern terms. All right. So now we see the basis of the parable. Let's jump back to verse 14.
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods.
All right. So anybody understand? Anybody know who the man is?
Christ.
Who's the man in verse 14?
Yahweh Shai.
All right. So we got Christ. We'll show that a little bit. So that's the interpretation of that. And his own servants and delivered them unto them his goods. So he gave goods, and we'll figure out what that is. Verse 15.
And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to the other 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
So it's very important that we realize he gave the talents according to what?
Their ability.
Their ability. Okay. And straightway took his journey. So depending on the ability that we have, we could have different kinds of talents. All right. We're servants. Somebody might have 5, somebody might have 2, somebody might have 3, somebody might have 1. Okay. According to your ability. Now let's do did anybody have anything? Before I just want to show a little bit of something. All right. Let's go to Romans chapter 12 real quick. Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. All right. Give me, we'll just go right to the point. Give me verse 6.
Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the propitiation proportion of faith.
Read verse 7.
Or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation, he that giveth, let him do it with simplicity, he that ruleth with diligence, he that showeth mercy with cheerfulness.
All right. So what I want to get is, remember we talking about with Christ, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us. All right. So we deal with this talents is dealing with the gifts. All right. So we're given different gifts, or what we call gifts as well. What? Talent. You know, you say that brother's talented in this or whatever. Right. Same thing. So it's differing according to the grace. And I want you to realize he is giving this talent, or he's giving this this gift. Okay. Every man according as his ability. Okay. So he gives some teaching, and this is why I'm using some, we're gonna go to another spot, but you see some is teaching, it might be ministering, might be exhortation, some it might be singing, you know, he gives out these talents. Some people might have 2 things, right? Because somebody had 2 talents. Somebody might have 5 things. All right. Somebody might just have 1. Okay. No problem if you do have just 1, just make sure you're working it. All right. Let's go to the next spot and go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was just about to bring that up.
Okay. You can break it down. No problem with it. So, let's get to the first verse to get a little bit of context.
Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant.
All right. So what is he talking about? What's the context of this chapter? Spiritual gifts, right? This is something, when you're getting gifted something, is not particularly, You earned it, you're getting this, right? He's giving you this according to the grace that we read in Romans 12, right? But let's jump down to verse, which verse we'll go to? Let's go to verse 6. Let's go to verse 6.
There are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all.
Give me, matter of fact, go to verse 4 real quick, just so we can see gifts again.
Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit.
It's diversity, it's diverse, right? The talents are diverse, but it's the same Spirit, right? Christ is still giving it to all, okay? Some people beef over their gifts. We just got so carnal that people make problems and conflict with even their gifts, all right? It should be under the same Spirit. Verse 6.
There are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all.
There's different operations of them. Verse 7.
But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal.
So the point of the Spirit is that we profit, that we gain from it. He's giving you these talents so you can gain, okay? Not just to stand there stagnant with it. What's the point of you being got the gift of teaching if you ain't going to teach nobody? What's the point of having the gift of the talent of exhortation and you ain't going to exhort? What's the point of having the gift of singing? You ain't going to praise God's name with it. He ain't give you these gifts so you can just hide it. Saying hide it in the ground, but you're just going to hide it in. Remember, we made of the earth. You just hide it in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't what he gave you the gift for. That you can use it to benefit others. If you're not trying to use your gift to benefit others, well, we'll get to that. Let's keep going.
To another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing.
Verse 8. Verse 8.
For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit.
So we see it. One talent could be knowledge. One of them could be wisdom. All right. But it's still Christ that gave it. Read.
To another faith by the same Spirit. To another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
To another the working of miracles. To another prophecy. To another discerning of spirits. To another diverse kinds of tongues. To another the interpretation of tongues.
All right, so that's for the people to talk about the speaking in tongues. I don't deny that you can't speak in tongues or it's not appropriate now. What you got to look at it is it's a talent. Everybody is not going to get the same gift or talent. Some people will, some people won't. That's why I can't judge you. Don't judge the Spirit on a talent or a gift you got. Brother Kai, let's say Brother Kai got the gift of healing. That don't mean everybody gonna have the gift of healing. Somebody got the gift of knowledge. That don't mean everybody gonna have the gift of knowledge. Same thing with tongues. That don't mean everybody gonna have the gift of tongues. Interpretation, everybody's not gonna have that. Okay, so these gifts are put in the church that we can profit, so we can help one another. All right. It's no point of us, and this is why he talks about the body, that to make up a body, you can't all have the same body parts, right? Can't have a body, don't have 4 hands, 5 eyes and no mouth and nose. No, it has to be a completion. So the same thing when it comes to the church, he's completing, he's putting different gifts in there so we can be whole. But if everybody's trying to get the same gift, you're missing the point. We don't need everybody to speak in tongues because we need somebody to interpret it. Okay? We don't need everybody healing and nobody giving instruction and knowledge. All right? So they all have their perspective, places, and roles. All right? Verse 11.
But all these work of the one and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will.
It worketh that one. Remember, you should have brought to the exchange. You should have worked that gift. But it says in the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. Some of us try to force a talent on us. Well, I desire, I want to be healing, so that's all I'm going to seek for. He separates it how he wants to. You can seek it all you want. I'm not saying the Most High can't, you know, they won't get it or whatever. You shouldn't be striving for that. But he divides it how he wants. Okay? But you need to worry about the talent he gave you and working that talent, whatever it may be. Okay? I'm sure, do you have anything you wanted to bring out with that? I know I skipped over some stuff.
Nah, he basically said it all. It's just, you know, the talent is basically what we read in Matthew 25. It's just, that's what it's basically telling. He's giving us gifts, each one to which, you know, are your abilities. So we all got different gifts. We have to use them. And if we don't use them for the building of the kingdom, then that's how you profit. You don't just use them just because you can do it. It's for the building of the kingdom, to win souls. And, you know, so yeah, you said it all, man.
All praise. And that's the point, beloved. We'll lose the purpose if we're not getting what the purpose is for. It's the purpose is to share these things, to bring our brothers and sisters in. So we're taking them gifts. And when he say hide in the earth, that don't mean you ain't using it. You might get to singing, but you might be singing for everything else, but you hide in the earth in his eyes. He's talking about doing it for him. He gave you the gift. He ain't give you this gift so you can do your own will with it. He gave you the gift for his purpose. You give that money to the investor. It's not so the investor can now spend your money and do, no. What you doing? I gave you this for a purpose, to basically to benefit me. But look, you have benefited yourself with this. It's not good, beloved. That's not good. All right. Let's go back to Matthew 25. All right. So we have the man traveling to a far country. You look at Christ, you can take that as, remember, where's Christ at now?
Third heaven.
All right. The heaven, God getting fancy, the third heaven.
Right hand of the Father.
To the right hand with the Father. That's far from us, right? Because far, we can't get there. Okay. Flesh and blood can't inherit it either. So we can't get there. So that's why I say in that far country, you know, but everybody, you ain't going to receive it if you just look at it like this. Okay. So he's in that far country. And it says he called his own servants and delivered them to his good. So he's giving them the talents and the gifts. All right. So now we can read verse 15 and 16.
16. Then
15.
he that have.
Did we read?
16.
I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. 16.
Okay. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents.
Read the next one too.
And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that received, keep going.
Just staying there. So what's that dealing with, beloved? What is happening here in this passage? So the person that got 5 he got 5 more. Person that got 2 got 2 more. How do you gain? Because we talk about these gifts. How do you gain? How do you get to that level? What is Christ illustrating to us? Person bring them more, begin breaking down the understanding now. Somebody got 5, you know, maybe they got gifts, they got a couple of gifts. Now they increased. Person with 2, they increase. How do you do that? My wife's saying being obedient. Can't argue with that. When we looking at this stuff, beloved, we know our Lord. right? What does our Lord require of us? Maybe we don't know. Maybe we don't know the Lord, but I don't want to assume that we know. What is things that the Lord requires of us? Go ahead, Mother Val.
To be obedient and follow his commandments.
Be obedient, follow his commandments. Absolutely. All right. Classic Ecclesiastes 12:13. You know, fear God and keep his commandments, for this whole duty of man. We know what God requires of us. So now when you have the knowledge of what's supposed to be done, what do you got to do? Now you just got to do it. And this is the difference. I want you to realize this is the difference from the people of God and the people that's just talking about it. Because they all knew how the Lord was. I want you to realize that person with one talent, it wasn't that he was ignorant. He testified and said, listen, I know you're a hard master. They all knew that. The difference between the two servants is, since they knew that, they did something. Lord, I know you want us to be obedient. You want us to be walking in perfection, to being more like you. So we got to take the steps. And as we take the steps, we're going to get deeper and wiser and get more and more from him, because that's how the Spirit works. But if you just want to sit and say, well, I got this talent, I'm good, I'm just going to chill, right? He ain't working in that. So we got to do. We don't all got the same talents, but we got a talent. You at least got one. What are you doing with your talent? That's something we all can look in the mirror. Are we using our talent to the full ability? Because when we got to come to a day where we got to make an account for what we did. And we don't want to be like this, brother. Read verse 18.
Verse 16 is interesting to me, not to cut you off, but it seemed like, the one with 5 talents, it says went and traded with the same. How I'm seeing that as, he went and traded with like-minded believers, and they started sharpening each other, iron sharpened iron. They started to grow, like we doing, and then he went and traded the same. In other words, he met a person that was like him or people like him, and they went out and they made more talents.
Absolutely right. There's nothing. So I'll use one like a teacher, right? Teacher aspect. A teacher is supposed to be, trying to get the knowledge, because you can be a better teacher, right? But sometimes if you just close off and it's just, you're just in that little bubble and this is how I'm going to do it. But when you listen to other people and everything, you can grow as a teacher, right? Every great teacher at one time was a great student, right? So with our gifts, like Brother Kai said, we're dealing with other people, we're going to grow. That's the point is, we're going to grow. A singer, sometimes you're dealing with different sayings. You learn different chords and all that stuff. You can be a better singer, right? So that's a great point. Great point. There's always room to grow. All right.
Verse 18. But he that had received one went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
All right, so this person didn't do nothing with it. Read.
After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them.
All right, there's going to be a time. He's on a far journey, but what? He's coming back. So that's why I said we should be watching and praying. We know he's coming back. And we're going to have to what? Give an account. What did you do with the talent that I gave you? Read.
And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more.
Mm-hmm.
His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
So what kind of reward he get for that, for doing what he did? So he called him a good and faithful servant. So you're going to get a faithful man's reward, right? And it says, I will make thee ruler over many things. Because what you showed, I want you to realize that what you're doing now is dictating your future. Because now that you have done those things, you work those talents, you use them to the glory and the edification of the kingdom. Now I'm going to make you a ruler over many things. Okay. It kind of reminds me of, y'all know where Peter said it. We did all this, what we're going to get. Let's see if I can find it.
Someone sitting on the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel, that one.
Yeah.
I can find it for you.
Find it.
Matthew 19 and 28.
So Peter was being real. You know, have people that's lying. I'm just serving the Lord because I just love. I hear you, but no, you doing it. You're doing it for a reward. Do free. That's fine. Go ahead.
So I can. And when you read in Luke 19, it says it a little differently, maybe a little clearer in the sense, because like Matthew, it says, "Oh, I give you." He said, "I did 5, and I gave 5 more." He said, "I make you ruler." He said, "I make you rule over many things." When you read it in Luke, it says it differently. It talks about cities, and it says, "Because you prove yourself faithful." It's a different kind of version, and trustworthy. And very little thing, ye shall have authority over 10 cities. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know what I mean? So
let me go. We'll go to that one first then. That was Luke 9. You said Luke what?
Luke 19.
Mm-hmm. And what verse are we dealing with?
I think it was 16. I think it's 16. It says, "Then came the first saying." Yeah. It says, "Then came the first saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said to him, Well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, thou have authority over 10 cities."
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what I mean? And the second one had the what? The second saying, yeah, it was a little different. So that's all. I was just saying a little differently. Like basically, like you just said, he gave them something small, and they gained something bigger. So now he's saying, I'm giving you that, what you gain and more. You're gonna be a ruler. You're gonna have authority over that.
Oh, got you. I got you. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's good, like I said, it's good to read the different gospels, because sometimes some of the wording and verbiage is a little different. So, or it gives a little more detail as well. So the cities give a little more detail because we're going to actually be ruling. So that works perfectly. All right. So Kai, where was the other one at? I'm sorry. That was Matthew 19.
Matthew 19.
Should be at the end of the chapter, right?
Yeah, 28. Matthew 19.
All right. All right. No, give me 27 so we get context.
Those my enemies, which would not that I should reign over them,
Hold on, where
bring
you
them
at?
hither and slay them before me.
Where you at?
19?
What verse you at?
27.
Start that
I'm up there. You said 27?
yeah, chapter 19, verse 27.
I probably was
Make
in
sure
the
I got
wrong
it.
chapter. Then answered Peter, you got it on the screen? I'm gonna read it from the screen. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore?
All right, yeah, he talking about slaying somebody. I don't know what Bible he got. All right, but so we see Peter has a question because Christ be talking a lot about sacrifice. All right, you got to give this up. He's talking to a young rich ruler, give up all your riches and follow me and things of that nature, right? So, disciples hearing all this stuff. So, brother Peter, I love Peter because boy, he asked a good question.
Mhm.
Lord, listen, we forsaken all. Basically, we gave up all family, money, all that stuff, and followed you. What we gonna get? Right? What's our reward for doing that? And that's not disrespectful. It's a good question. When you do something, what I'm gonna get from? What's the benefit of it? You wouldn't be serving God if there was no benefit from it. Don't even lie to yourself. Okay. So he's saying, what we gonna get? Let's see if Jesus say, don't you question God. Verse 28.
And Jesus said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
So he's saying, y'all, when I come back in my glory, when I'm sitting on my throne, he's going to sit in the throne of glory. He's saying you're going to sit upon 12 thrones and you're going to be judging the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. So they're going to be in a leadership position. Okay. They're going to be in a leadership position and they're going to be judging. Okay. Verse 29.
And everyone that hath forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or fathers or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life.
All right. So we're going to benefit more when we do this. So there is a reward. All right. And then we go to, I don't want to go too deep into that, but even with showing point when he's bringing out the cities and all that stuff, being in that rulership position. All right. So what we do now reflect our position when we come back. Okay. All right. Let's go to back to Matthew 25. This is why he gave some things in parables. Remember these dark mysteries, right? So if you didn't see it at first when you're reading it, that's that's the point of the parable, right? All right, what verse we at in 25?
Was it 23?
Yeah, that's good enough.
His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
All right. So you're going to enter into the joy of thy Lord. So that's talking about when he comes, right? That's going to be a joyous day. So we're going to be good if we did something with our talent. Okay. Verse 24.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I know thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast, that is thine.
So he's saying, listen, we already said, everybody going to confess, right? Lord, I know you, I know what you require, but I was doing this. I know I was supposed to do this with my talent, but this job, I know I had to do this with my talent, but I had school. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good when you talking to man, right? You talking to man, you can say that. Oh, you don't understand. Lord knows my heart. All right. He knows your heart, but he already telling you what is required, what he wants you to do with it. And I'm just going to just reveal it. There's not a good enough excuse of why you didn't do nothing with your talent. There's not. He gave it to all of us for a reason, for it to be used. If he didn't want it to be used, he wouldn't have gave it to you, because we already know what kind of Lord he is. He wants benefit from something he didn't do. So he gave us the talent. He only given it to us because he's saying, you can work this thing. And you can be greater than what you are. But you got to put the effort in. You got to desire it. Just like with the parable of the 10 virgins, that oil. When y'all saying it was desire last week, you got to desire this thing. When you desire it, you're going to grow. If you got one talent, you're gonna have two by the time the Lord comes. You got two, you're gonna have four by the time the Lord comes. But you got to want it. Okay? And sometimes this is where the envying and stuff comes, the jealousy comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people looking at their brother saying, man, that brother prospering. It's like every time he's prospering or she's prospering. Why ain't I prospering? Do you desire it like that brother or sister? Or are you hiding your talent in the earth? Oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. I got too many other things in front of that, but I'll get to it. But that brother or sister that's putting God first and saying, I want to live for him, they're over there multiplying their talent. But sometimes we get envious and jealous at that, and we try to tear them down, thinking that somehow that will make us another talent, give us another talent. I don't know what we think is going to happen from that, right? So, beloved, we all got a talent. Make sure you working and you do something with it before the Lord comes, because he's expecting more. He's expecting interest. You know what he gave us, so he knows if you did something with it or not. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed.
All right. So you know what you're supposed to do. And I want to get it. You know what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I came back, I don't want to hear no, well, he don't want to hear nothing. We know what kind of Lord we're dealing with. I know the churches are painting them all nice, and he's coming back with flowers and, oh, you didn't do nothing. You was being wicked. It's all right. Just come in. He let everybody in. That's what the world trying to put you in. That ain't what this is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's saying you knew better.
Mm-hmm.
Read what verse we at.
Verse 27.
All right, let me move the screen up. All right.
Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I shall have received my own with usury.
You should have did something with it. There's talents in the church. You should do something with it. You can talk to other people with it. Build with people. You should be better. There's no way you should be at the same spot. You should be better. All right. But sometimes we got to be in that environment. That's why it's being specific. You should have went to the exchanges, people that dealt with that, because they would have taught you or elevated you. Right. They talk about that even in business. You got to look at your circle. They say you want to be a millionaire, whatever. Be surrounded by people that's millionaires. What you gonna do? You're gonna increase because you're around that environment. You're around people that's all below you. You usually conform to it. So if you want to increase in God, you need to be around people that's trying to increase in God. Not into everybody else's business all over the world. You need to be about your Father's business. You need to be around like-minded people, your Father's business. That's how you increase. Okay. All right. Verse 28.
Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which have 10 talents.
So some of the stuff we can see that he's going to take from what you was given this. This was for you, but I'm going to take this and give it to somebody else. And sometimes we even see that nowadays. Oh, you don't want to teach. Oh, you busy doing your thing. Oh, okay. Sometimes Lord will take it and he'll give it to somebody else. This brother or sister, is that wasn't their gift or their talent, but I see what they're doing with what they have. So let me give them this because I know they're going to do something with it. You don't want to lose your gift or talent because of something like that, beloved. But that's who we're dealing with. They say if you don't use it, you lose it, right? These talents, you don't want to use it, you'll lose it. Okay? So some people can gain gifts or talents as well. All right, anybody got anything they want to add? Just kind of going through it quickly. All right, verse 29.
For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath.
Mm-hmm.
And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
All right, so we always hear that language, right? That weeping and gnashing of teeth, right? And that's dealing with some judgment. Okay. So if you don't do nothing with your talent, he's saying, I'm going to throw you to where the unprofitable people go. Okay. Verse 31.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Mm-hmm.
And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats.
All right. So we see once again, now this is dealing with what? The time that Christ is coming in his glory. Did Christ come in his glory yet?
No.
Yeah, no, right? Because he already told you it's not a shocker thing. You shouldn't miss it, right? Because he's telling you when he's going to come. No, not exactly when, where he's going to be coming, right? That Mount of Olives, everybody's going to see him and all that stuff, right? So when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him. So people say, oh, Christ came. All the angels came with him. That didn't happen. We don't got no scriptures for that, all right? It says, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. That's when he's going to sit upon the throne of his glory. Not sitting there yet, but he's going to come down here because we know what he said. Was it 1 Thessalonians 4 and 16 or 19, I think, right? The first and dead are going to rise, right? We're going to be caught up in the air. He's coming down. He's coming with his angels. We're going to meet him in the air. And then now we're looking here, what he's going to do with the angels. When he meets us, some of us in the air, he's going to come down, okay? So sit upon the throne is glory, and it's a continuation. And before him shall be gathered all nations. So when people just saying you're just going up to heaven and that, no. That's a doctrine that man made up, okay? Because what? The nations are not up there. He's going what? He said he's going to sit on the throne of glory, and before him shall be gathered all the nations. All right, the nations are down here. And it says he shall separate them one from another as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats. All right, so at that time, he's going to make some separations. All right. Read verse 33 too.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
All right. So he's separating it, and you want to be on what side? Anybody know?
Right.
You want to be that right. All right. You want to be on that right. Let's hold this. We can do a whole lesson with this, but I just want to get one spot. I'm gonna stay right in Matthews. Let's go to Matthews 13 real quick. Let me see where I find it. I want to read the whole thing to the point. This was dealing with another parable. Give me verse 39.
So Matthew 13 to 39.
Go to 37. Go to 37. Let's go through it quickly.
He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man.
Mm-hmm.
The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one.
And we did this, probably got a YouTube on it, right? So we're not going full detail. This is dealing with another parable, but we see it's going to be some of the same. He's using the same kind of analogies and breakdown, right? Him being the Son of Man, being in there, and he's talking about the children of the kingdom and the tares, all right? But that's dealing with the other parable. Verse 39.
The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels.
So remember, we already read, he's coming back with what? His angels. What the angels going to be doing? They're going to be reaping. All right, this is dealing with the wheat and tare, so they're using the agricultural aspect. With this one, we see he's coming back with his angels, so he come back here. All right, so the same, we see in different aspects, angels are coming with them. All right, so angels are going to be the reapers. Read verse 40.
As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world.
All right, so the end of this world, that's when he's going to be coming back at the end, right? So it's going to be some fire and everything. Keep reading.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity.
All right, so now the angels are doing what? They gathering up. They're gathering those that offend. Remember all those nations. You got to divide them. Read verse 42.
And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be weeping, there shall be wailing, and gnashing of teeth.
Isn't that what we were just reading about, the gnashing of teeth from this unprofitable person that had the one talent and hit it? Then he says he's getting thrown there. Same aspect. He's talking about this one event. This person's going to be going in there. Let's jump down to verse 49.
So shall it be at the end of the world.
I'm sorry. Matter of fact, I'm sorry. Give me verse 47.
Come. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind. Which, when it was full, they drew it to shore and sat down and gathered the good into the vessels, but cast the bad away.
All right. It's saying what? It went out, this net went out, and it had good stuff and bad stuff. They threw the bad stuff away. The angels are coming. They're going to have what? Goats and sheep. They're going to separate it because there has to be a separation, beloved. Once you live in, you're in the game now. Now you just got to figure out which part. You're going to be doing good, a good servant, or you're going to be unprofitable. All right. So you're going to cast them away. Read verse 49.
So shall it be at the end of the world. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just.
I'm going to separate the sheep from the goat, the wicked from the just, the good from the evil. All right. He keeps saying it in different ways, beloved. All right. Read verse 50.
And shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
So he's reiterating in different ways. I don't think he can make it any more clear and give you more, analogies behind it. All right. So this is why I said these parables have deeper meanings. Okay, but they're all connected. You can see. All right, let's go back to Matthew 25. Change some of the parables up, but it still has the same kind of message with all of them. All right. So in this one, he's using as sheep and goat. All right. The other one used just and unjust, right? Just using different things, but he's telling you what we're doing. Verse 34. If anybody got anything, just unmute or whatever, yell out and bring it out.
Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
Who's the king?
Christ.
A little hesitant, right? Christ is the king. What gives that away that is not talking about God, the Father?
Because he said, come ye blessed of my father.
Right. He says, inherit the kingdom prepared from you since when? The foundation of the world. So this was already in effect since the beginning. Okay, we talk about the plan of salvation. It wasn't something that just came up. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna throw my son down there, and I think he already knew it at the beginning. That's all it's going to come out. Okay. The kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. All right. Verse 35.
For I was in hunger, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in.
All right.
Naked.
I'm sorry. Yeah, keep going.
Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
All right. So he's using some verbiage. I was hungry, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. So it sounds like somebody's in need, and the other person fulfilling those needs. Okay. What are some spiritual aspects behind it, right? Because we talk about these are parables and things of that nature. So we understand the natural aspect. Somebody hungry, you give them something to eat. Somebody's thirsty, you give them something to drink. We understand that aspect. Do y'all think there's a spiritual undertone that can be looked at as well? And if so, somebody give me an example. You think it could be this? All right. So my wife is saying the hunger could be dealing with the word. Maybe people need clarity with it.
Christ said in Matthew, was somebody talking?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, Christ said in Matthew the 5th chapter, blessed are those that hunger and thirst after righteousness, right? It was those that was, hungering and thirsting after, the Most High's righteousness. And those people are the ones that's going to get fed. In verse 6, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. So in other words, if you thirst and hunger after his righteousness, he's going to fill you. And how he's going to fill you, he's going to fill you with his word.
Good, bro. I think you have something you want to add, right? Yeah. You were saying something?
Yeah. Clyde basically said it. I mean, everything he's saying right here, being when you're hungry, thirsty, you say you're a stranger, you was naked. Christ is saying is that's the king is saying. Now, then the king is Christ. So, and they're gonna ask the king. Well, I don't know if you read 38 yet.
No, we didn't get to the explanation. Breakdown of it. Yeah. No, so it's about to get. I already see. I was like, "Oh, you about to go there?" But yes. So right now, it's saying the king, and that's very important because some people just look at themselves, but he's going to make something. But this is the king saying this. I was hungry. Christ's like, I was hungry. You didn't feed me. And they ain't just talking about when he was walking on the earth. All right. So that's a very good point that Brother Tizzy bringing out about the what? about the hunger and the naked and the thirsty, but there's spiritual aspects behind it, right? We talk about clothing. You'll see the Bible talking about having, the righteousness on you, right? So we know clothing can be dealing with righteousness, right? When you're in sin, it's like you're naked, ashamed, all right? See, our brothers and sisters, they might have clothes, they might have the materialistic aspect of it, but they're naked in God's eyes. They're not covered by his spirit. So in this aspect, it's like that. You talk about prison. Kai talked about this a few weeks ago, right? That we're in that chains of darkness in those prisons. It's not talking about the natural jailhouses. It's talking about that they're in that prison of sin. They can't get out, right? And you get that marvelous light that can break them out. That gospel can break them out that prison and out that falsehood, okay? So he's giving us natural things, but as we grow, we should understand that there's some spiritual undertones with all this, okay?
And add on what you say, in Isaiah 42, it deals with that prison, being in prison to your sin. And also at Mount Sinai, when they made the golden calf, it said they was naked to their shame. It wasn't that they was butt booty naked or nothing like that. Once you naked, you don't have God on you no more. You don't got that hedge of protection. So that spiritual nakedness.
Did you go out? I can't hear you.
No, I'm here. Must be
okay.
Some with the connection.
Okay.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's just saying that basically you all the things that they did is help with the ministry. It's to help with the ministry and everything. And when you're in prison, it's like, it said you come in prison. So like if you're in a prison and they're in darkness, like with Paul was going through a lot. And he was ignoring his personal danger. Paul was going to these people that was trying to help them out. And he was getting persecuted and, going through all kinds of stuff, getting, hurt and everything. But he still went. So that's what he's saying to me. He said, you did all this and everything, but you got to reverse. I'm going to stay back because 38 isn't going to get too much away. Go ahead.
Great points. Both of y'all brothers making great points.
338.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at it. It's just getting deeper and deeper. When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee?
So they're confused, right? They're like, hold up. Christ the King. He like, wait up. When was you naked? When was you, in prison? When was you thirsty? When was you hungry? Because like I said, what happened? We're looking naturally. And he's going deep. This is why when Sean said that it's the King saying this, it's very important to know that. When was you like this? When was Christ like this? Let's see the response. Verse 40.
And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
How always was. Go ahead, Jizzy. I don't want to.
Nah, so basically he's saying that, they didn't actually feed him. He wasn't actually sick. It's the fact that he's saying, you did this to your brother, to my brother. The ones who was sick, the ones who was naked, the ones who was bound in his curses, you went to them. And when you do that to them, right, and when you went to them and you basically gave them this medicine or gave them this stuff to get free, you did it unto me. You have done it unto me. And Kai, can you read Hebrews 6 and 10?
Come.
This is going to explain it as well.
Hebrews, you said 6 and 10?
Yeah, 6 verse 10.
For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. Come.
So you see that, you know, where everything go with the talents and stuff, it's all links together. You know what I mean? They use their talents to go out and minister to the saints who were sick, who were naked, who were hungry, and wanting this meat, wanting this thirst, wanting this water, that everlasting, you know, that water that was going to have never thirst again. So when they did this, he did it in the name of Christ. So remember when Paul, he said to Paul, he said, "Yo, how you kick it against the prick? Like you're persecuting me." But he was actually what? Persecuting the saints who believe. But basically he was saying, when you do this to them, you're doing this to me. So when we out here, we feeding the sick and we're helping them, you know, giving them stuff, giving them basic clothing, covering them, they won't be naked, and helping them get out of that spiritual bondage of prison and darkness, and giving them food, which is that real meat, the real bread, the real water, that the word of Christ, the word of the Most High through Christ. And this is what it is right here. This is the and then you get a reward for that. And he said, the more you do, the more you bring in, the more he will give you to be ruler of, and then you will be, and he will reward you more abundantly. It's like, I'm not going to give a person, if I give Kai a job to do and he don't do it, why would I give him any more? Because he's showing that that he's not worthy to do that. So Kai, if I give Kai a job to cut my grass, but he cut the grass and pick up the sticks and pick up the leaves and do it more, you're gonna be like, hold up, I'm gonna get, man, I can trust him with more work, and I know he's gonna get it done. So I digress.
I won't stop picking on me today too. It's like, no.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful point, beloved. And this is why I say when we view in this world, there's two different ways this is looked at. You know, we look at the movie The Matrix, you know, they get some of the stuff from the Bible, but it's two different worlds. When you're looking at this person as a bum, this and that, you looking at them as they're a stranger and all that stuff. But when you in the spirit of God, you're not looking at it like that. This is God. This is not even a new principle. How you treat the servants of the king is how you treat the king. You can't. This is what he talk about oneness. You can't disrespect my wife and think you honoring me. No. You can't be doing my kids dirty and talk about you love me. No. So a king is like, listen, the king, a good king loves his people. A good shepherd loves his sheep. This is why Christ is giving us these analogies that we can understand it. That's why he's telling Peter, what are you doing? Feed my sheep. You saying you love me? Feed my sheep then. You know I'm a shepherd. You know a big thing about a shepherd is taking care of the sheep. He's a king. A king's duty is to protect his people. Let's go to Psalm 105 real quick. It ain't too much breakdown. It kind of repeats on the rest of the chapter, so we'll read it through. But let's go to Psalms real quick. This is why he's coming down. When he came, he kept on telling them, y'all need to love your brothers, you know, don't do that. You need to love your brother. Remember love, because they thinking they was doing good in the eyes of the Lord by disrespecting their brother, but they don't know they doing that to God. You thought you hate your brother, but you really don't understand that you're hating me. That's why it's very important. Okay. So Psalms 105, let me give verse 15. Matter of fact, we ain't gonna go right to 15. All right. Give me verse 10. We're going to jump down after that. Give me verse 10. This is Psalms 105 and verse 10.
And confirm the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant.
All right. So we're talking about Jacob. We're dealing with Israel. Read verse 12.
When they were but a few men in number, yeah, very few, and strangers in it.
All right. So Israel is very small. Okay. Read.
When they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people.
And we was going from one nation to another. We were going to captivity, all those things, right? Verse 14.
He suffered no man to do them wrong. Yeah, he reproved kings for their sakes.
He was reproving kings for their sake, wasn't he? Wasn't he correcting kings for Israel's sake? Read verse 15.
Saying, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm.
So this is where pastors, so a lot of them mix this up because they don't want you disrespecting them. All right, don't be touching God's anointed. Don't be doing his prophets no wrong, no harm. But what is that dealing with? Read that again. Read that verse again. I'm sorry, that verse 15.
Saying, thou touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets.
Who is the anointed? That's why I read up first. Who is the anointed that's being talked about here? Because I'm tired of pastors and preachers using this out of context.
His people.
He's talking about the people as a whole. He's not talking about just the pastor. It wasn't just the pastor that was being moved from nation to nation. He's talking about all of Israel. See, this is why I say you got to be mindful of some of these guys. They be using this Bible, correct, and because you ain't reading or going back over it, y'all just going with it. And you teach your kids, all right, you got to be careful how you treat the man of God. You can disrespect the other saints. You can disrespect the other ones, but don't disrespect the pastor or the deacon. No, you can't disrespect one another because you the anointed too. That goes from the top, what you perceive as the top person, to lowest. And if you're looking at each other as the anointed, you ain't gonna be treating people the way you do. So we need to understand this, beloved. All right, be careful. She's a woman. You treat, okay, that's the anointed. It goes from man, woman, and child. So Israel, we need to look at that. Touch not my anointed. Do my prophet no harm. Why? Because I'm going to get vengeance. The Lord said what? We still in captivity. But he said, I'm going to come to get what? Vengeance. Because they're touching my anointed. And the king, if you do his people wrong, what happens? He usually goes to war, don't he? Right? He's up there looking and he's seeing how his people being done wrong. That's why he's going to come down. He said, what? I'm going to divide the nations. The nation ain't just going to submit to him. They're going to fight. They got their own people. But he's coming down to save his people. All right. All right, let's go back to Matthew 25 and we will finish it up. All right.
Hey, real quick, I want to read Zechariah 2 and 8. That's a good one too.
Go ahead, brother.
Could you scroll down? Can't see it on the screen. Zechariah 2, verse 8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory which he hath sent unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you touches the apple of his eye. Come. Right.
So this is how the Lord sees it. Good one. And this is very important. And this is what we realize when we talking about don't seeking vengeance and all that stuff. It don't matter if you forgive them. If people do you wrong, it don't matter. We have nothing to do with what he's going to do. All right. He said, I'm going to come and do this because what you did to me. what you did to the apple of my eye, the people. So this is very important, beloved. God is doing that vengeance. All right. So make sure we're not going to get caught up in that wrath, because even some of us, we doing our brothers and sisters wrong, we can get caught up in that wrath. All right. So, all right. Good, good, good. Where we at? Matthew 25 and what verse?
42? No. I think 44 or 45.
No, I think we stopped at 40.
No.
I think it just repeats. So read 41 through
41. Yeah, 41.
Okay, come. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
All right, so we see you're going to be right there with them. All right, read.
For I was an hunger, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in, naked, and ye clothed me not, sick and in prison, and ye visited me not.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
Yeah, you can finish it out.
Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when we saw thee at hunger, or at thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, and so much as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
All right. That's why he's splitting you up. He's splitting you up because you're going to get judgment. You get the eternal judgment. What we do now, decide if we get to everlasting punishment or we go into what? Everlasting everlasting life. Okay. All right, beloved. If nobody got anything to add, we'll close it there. All right. Shalom.
You're the lion.